DreAllDay.com.
So Miami versus Brooklyn, game 3 in Brooklyn. Miami was up 2-0, and it was just something about the way that Brooklyn, they came out. Mizar Teletovic came out and hit a bunch of three-pointers. Everybody else started hitting three-pointers. The Nets went 15 for 25 and threes in game 3. Thing is this, any NBA team shoots 15 for 25 and threes in a game, they're going to win that game. I don't care who you're playing against, where the game is at, who the other team has. You shoot 60% from 3 and make 15 of them, you're going to win that game. So Brooklyn won game 3 at home, as they should. I mean, they came and won a home game after they lost the first 2 on the road. And it was just something about the way Brooklyn celebrated that victory. To me, here we are looking at a team with grizzled veterans. They got 4 guys in Paul Pierce, KG, Joe Johnson, Darren Williams. 4 guys who at one point or another in their career have been recipients of maximum contracts. And they was just celebrating just a little bit too hard for a team that won 1 game out of 3 in the series. Like, they won game 3, which is good, what you're supposed to do, but you're still down 2-1. And you still got 3 more victories to go before you win the series. They just seem to be too happy to get that 1 victory. It just didn't sit well with me. And I said at the end of game 3, LeBron James is going to put on a show in game 4, and the Miami Heat is going to come back and win game 4 in Brooklyn and close it out in 5 in Miami. So it came into game 3. Paul Pierce started talking. He said he wanted to guard LeBron James, and I understand that. Paul Pierce is a leader. Paul Pierce is a Hall of Famer. Paul Pierce is probably the Nets' best chance of guarding LeBron James. And he came out and vocalized that he wanted to guard LeBron. But Paul Pierce is just not good enough to guard LeBron at this point in his career. I don't think there was ever a point he was that good to just guard LeBron one-on-one for a whole game. And we saw what happened in game 4. LeBron James proved that Paul Pierce is not a guy who should be calling out a matchup with him at this point in his career. Maybe at any point in his career, LeBron James drops 49 points. Missed the free throw at the end, was what it gave him 50. Miami goes up 3-1. So we're going to take a look at what happened in that game, how LeBron James dominated the Brooklyn Nets since he didn't really get that much help from his teammates there, and what I think is going to happen in game 5 when everybody takes their talents back to South Beach. There's no one who could really guard LeBron James one-on-one in any situation, but the book on him has always been if you let him shoot from the outside, make him beat you from out there. And if he's making that shot, you're in trouble. One of the beauties of the Heat's offense is they can have a guy like LeBron who can be the screener or the ball handler in a pick-and-roll situation, but they ran a lot of this stand around and watch offense last night for some reason. I don't know why. But then when you got a guy like LeBron, he can hit incredibly tough shots like that and bail you out. When LeBron catches this pass, you see Andre Bloch going the opposite direction. Sean Livingston and Teletovic see where LeBron's going, but nothing they can do to stop it. Last thing you want to give up against the Heat is fast break points. There was a point in time when Paul Pierce would have beat LeBron to that ball, but that time is long gone. Easy 2 points. Hey, Joe Johnson, you know you're doing something wrong when James Jones is blocking your shots. Gets the ball out to D-Wade, LeBron for the dunk. That's the last thing you want to give up when you're playing against the Heat. LeBron was feeling it in the first half. Now look at the Heat's offense on this play. Look at Chris Bosh here at the bottom of the screen. Hands on his knees. LeBron sends Chalmers through. Nobody's paying him any mind. Dwayne Wade jogs through what I guess we would call a cut. But LeBron's hitting shots like this, you still win. Tough. The Miami Heat, after losing in the finals in 2011, Eric Spoelstra got really creative with the offense, did some great things with them as far as player movement and ball movement. But for some reason last night, they weren't running any type of offense. Just look at this play. Nobody's really doing anything. But then when you got a guy like LeBron, he can beat Paul Pierce, who wanted to guard him off the bounce for a layup and one. Paul, you wanted the matchup. Players sometimes ask about lifting weights, how it will mess up your shot and mess up your rhythm as a player. Watch how LeBron bumps into Teletovic, who's a pretty big guy on this play, knocks him right under the basket, makes the layup as if he's not even there. He do seem to be running some sort of play in this possession here. LeBron gets the ball over to D-Wade, who didn't really do much in game 4. Gets it to LeBron 26 feet from the hoop. He's making that. I don't know what you do. Down the stretch of this game, it was very clear LeBron had no intentions of passing this ball, even with his teammate coming around the screen there, Mario Chalmers. He knows he's going to take this no matter what. He's just waiting for the opportunity. Now, Joe Johnson's 6'8", Paul Pierce is 6'8", and they're both about 240. And you see what he did to them. Now, let's take a look at the final 2-minute stretch that defined this game. So Joe Johnson gets the ball over to KG, and KG going off the dribble, taking a shot that KG just shouldn't be taking at this point in his career, especially at that juncture of the game. He gets the ball to LeBron James. So let's see if they run any type of offense on this play. Now you see Mario Chalmers is going to set a down screen for Chris Bosh, what I call an air screen, because he makes no contact whatsoever with Kevin Garnett. Then Chris Bosh does him one better and says, Mario, I'm going to set my own air screen on Joe Johnson. It makes no contact at all with Joe. And then Bosh misses. That was the second three-pointer in a row that Chris Bosh had missed. So we're still tied at 94 with 90 seconds to go. And Paul Pierce, you know it's pretty bad when you can't take Ray Allen off the dribble, who has no lateral movement whatsoever at this point defensively. Ray Allen can't guard anybody, but he can guard Paul Pierce, I guess. Joe Johnson was trying too hard to draw the sixth foul on LeBron here. They're not going to call a foul on LeBron at this point. He didn't foul him, but they're not going to call it. And Joe misses a bad fadeaway trying to shoot over LeBron James. That's just not a good play. Now, he get the ball to Dwayne Wade here up top. And I thought Dwayne Wade might try to make the hero play, but he made the good play. Pass to LeBron in the paint. And watch how quickly Chalmers gets the ball out of his hands over to Bosh in his sweet spot. And Bosh had a pretty quiet game, but he made the shot that his team needed. And that's what happens on championship teams. You got a player be quiet all game, or don't even play a lot in the game or the previous game or the next game. But when you need them in that big moment, they're there to make a shot. So here comes Brooklyn on offense, and I'm not sure they have a go-to guy here. They try to get it to Joe Johnson. I'd rather see Paul Pierce try to take Dwayne Wade in the high post. No way Joe Johnson's going to take LeBron James off the bounce. That's just not going to happen. Brooklyn gave him the ball. I don't know why. Joe Johnson, of course, missed again. And here come the Heat back on offense. They're up by 3. So they just need to get a bucket here, and they can pretty much put the game away. Dwayne Wade at the high. Gets it to LeBron James up top. Let's see what LeBron comes up with. Sometimes LeBron shoots bad fadeaway jump shots here, and that's exactly what he did. Still almost made that. Dwayne Wade, another guy who had a pretty quiet game. The one play they needed him to make, grab an offensive rebound, which the Heat didn't do too much of in this game, but they got the one that they needed. Almost got a 5-second count here, but Dwayne Wade, a veteran, has that time clock in his head called timeout on time. Get it inbounds, get the ball over to Ray Allen, one of the greatest foul shooters of all time. That's pretty much all there is to it. Let's take a look at this pivotal play for the Heat. Paul Pierce is telling Darren Williams, look, help me to the left. I'm going to cut off Dwayne Wade's right. Look at Paul Pierce's feet. He's taking away Dwayne Wade's right-hand drive and getting help left. Brooklyn, are we switching or are we staying on the screen? Joe and Paul Pierce are guarding the same guy. Look, Ray Allen's open in the corner for a split second. You see Sean Livingston hustling to get back to take that shot away. LeBron is facing Bosh. He's open, but Darren Williams is in position. He knows what's coming. Mario Chalmers can hit that 3. Darren Williams has to cover the ball, force him to make the pass. That's the right play. Kevin Garnett in 2003 could have got out there and disrupted this shot. In 2014, he cannot, and that's all there is. Game time. Headed into Game 5 in Miami, I think the Nets' biggest strength is playing in front of their home crowd where they can play off that energy, which kind of reminds me of a young team. That's what I see in young teams habitually. They play better at home because they got the comfort and support of the home crowd. A veteran team usually can go on the road and play just as well, something like the Miami Heat do, like say the San Antonio Spurs, or if you look back in history, even the Celtics, the KG Paul Pierce Celtics, the Chicago Bulls, the LA Lakers, the Kobe Shaq Lakers. These teams go on the road and play just as well because they feed off the energy of that road crowd. For some reason, Brooklyn seems just a little bit too, I don't know, they're out of sorts when they're on the road, but at home they play like a college team. But they're going to be on the road in Miami here. This is Game 5. The Heat need to close this series out. LeBron James already proved he can put a team on his back and dominate a game when he needs to. They already dominated Brooklyn twice at home. I think they're going to do it again. Miami's going to close out this series in 5. And what do you know? If the Pacers take care of business tonight, we right back where we all thought we would be. Eastern Conference Finals, Miami Heat against the Indiana Pacers. Should that happen, no matter what happens, I will put out previews of the conference finals series, both Eastern Conference and Western Conference. Let me know what you think about Game 4, what LeBron did, and also what you think is going to happen in Game 5, both the Pacers series and the Heat series. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com.
Go. Got it? Yep. Hey, punch card.